All right, good evening, Somers, and welcome to the Somers Town Board work session for Thursday, March 3rd, 2022. Before we start, let's the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we all take a seat, I'd just like to do a moment of silence, please, for the men, women, and children of the Ukraine. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to open up public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Anybody out there for public comment?
Are we on Zoom? We're not, right? We're not Zoom or anything, right? We're just here.
We are on Zoom, but there's nobody trying to...
Oh, okay.
There's no one trying to get in? Okay. Well, there's no one here for public comment. I'd like to make a motion to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. For this evening, I'd like to start off with the Somers, the COVID-19 update. Currently, there are 42 active cases and 1 new case as of today. I'd like to move on to the New York Stretch Code discussion. Don Bleasdale, the chairman of the Somers Energy Environmental Committee, is here to discuss. So, Don, if you'd like to come up there. Yep.
Hey, Don.
Hey, Don.
How you doing, everybody?
Thanks for coming.
Tom Toome, I believe, I don't know if Kim sent that.
We saw the note.
Right from Tom. And actually, Ken Carney got back to me today, as well as Jim Boniello, and they also lending their support. Jim was going to try to get here, but just for 2 of the prominent builders in town who are, Ken, I know, has built many of his buildings to a LEED standard, which probably surpasses even the stretch code. So he was very supportive and thought, you know, it's going to just increase the value, the housing stock in Somers gets improved when buildings are more efficient. So, and ultimately, I think the big winners are going to be homeowners, because you're going to have, you know, less expensive costs, and especially today with oil and gas prices rising a lot, a little more initial outlay leads to savings over time. So, any questions, anybody on
No, it just makes us eligible for grant money as well, right?
Well, and so the stretch code, there's a whole bevy of, there's about 25,000 right now out there. The stretch code is like the biggest one. That's probably, I think it's 5,000. And that's about a third of the way to the points. Like they give you points for things.
Right.
So there's several other initiatives with EV charges, which we're going to try to pursue and find ways to get those. And ultimately, that could lead to about 25,000 in grants, which is pretty nice.
Good. So we adopt it, and you guys are going to go after the grants.
The rest of it, right?
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And you've spoken to 2 builders,
Correct.
and you yourself are a builder.
Yes, I do work in the construction business. So.
So this is not an onerous requirement, but good business, I would suppose, in today's world.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as smarter building. You know, I mean, the housing stock in most of the area was built in the 50s and 60s, you know, time when gas was cheap, oil was cheap, and they didn't worry about houses that were drafty or leaky. So, I mean, you look at all the bigger builders, they'd be foolish not to, because it's just a better product. You know, if you ask someone, do you want to have less costly expenses, who would say no? Do you want a house that's got better indoor air quality? Yes. Do you want to have a house that's worth more money? Because at some point, it may be in certain other municipalities where you're going to have, like, when you buy a car, it's going to say a yearly energy cost of this home. And if you have $5,000 or $6,000 and you have $1,500 over here, that's going to clearly value your home more. So I think it's going that way, and you know, it doesn't make sense to not build a better product when you can, especially when the payback is there.
The public's gonna probably wanna know whether this is existing, new construction only, or existing things that are being done.
I think
renovations.
the stretch code will count for everything. I mean, if a renovation is small, depending on how much of the house is being addressed, there would be probably minimal factors that will come into play. Basically, you're talking better lighting, better envelope, better, in some cases, mechanicals. They want to check and make sure that they're not leaky. Those are the three big ones in terms of how they're going to get that extra 11% efficiency than your standard buildings.
And just the big picture here, though, we're doing an early adoption, but these codes are gonna be upon us as they are adopted by New York State, right?
Every 3 years, where the codes change, are updated every 3 years, so, right. The first, Hastings-on-Hudson has had a green building code for about 10 years. And I met with, pre-COVID, I met with their building inspector, and, he thought he was completely behind it. You're building better buildings. They're LEED buildings, LEED standard buildings are going to have more cachet, and they're just better built. So.
Cool.
And if you look at what came out this week, and I know that you have, from, I guess it's the United Nations on the climate and what's going to happen in the next few years, it was distressing and worse than I had anticipated, at least, trying to stay up on this. As Bill points out, the green person that I am. But, so this is only, we can't, no one thing will change the whole world, but, we have to do our part. So it's better business, and it helps in the huge problem that may be, in my way, one of the major problems of the next 30 years. And people will look back and say, what were you people thinking when you didn't adopt the stretch code, or you didn't look for geothermal? What were you thinking? That's how I look at it. So it's a small thing, but I'm glad you brought it to our attention.
Well, I think the built environment is 35% of greenhouse gases, in general. So it's a big fish in terms of trying to lower that down. And I appreciate the board's being willing to listen, and the little sweetener with the incentives and the grant money is a nice little extra that can be used for maybe an EV charging station or something else. So I think it's a win-win ultimately for.
But we thank you, because you brought this to our attention. It wasn't hoisted upon us. It wasn't sent us by the state. And like a lot of things you've done, you've been proactive in bringing forward solutions, which is sort of what we all promise to do within our ability, to be proactive and seeing the future and taking what's in the best interest of the town into account. And here's an example where you have led us. We didn't ask you, but you've led us. So I think we thank you.
We all try to do our part, right? Anything else? Any other questions or on any of the? So what's the process from here? How does it work?
So the next thing we'll do is probably, Patty, let's put on the consensus agenda
No,
To schedule a
to
public hearing?
to schedule a public hearing.
I have to recuse myself.
Okay.
So-
So, okay.
Oh.
It did come to light that do we have to send it to the state first?
Not first.
Not first.
Just today, the North Salem adoption of the law was accepted by the state.
All right, we'll pull that mic a little closer.
Just today, the North Salem version of the law was accepted by the state. So we can easily put it into the same format for you. And once it's adopted, then you send it to both the energy code people and the state, and assuming both will accept it, then it's effective.
Okay.
So it's a two-step process this time. We have to fit it in someplace in the code book.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a chapter.
So for right now, you're just gonna you're gonna put it back on next week's
Next,
agenda
okay,
to schedule a public hearing.
okay. All right.
And we'll work on the law, and I'll send over to David Smith the environmental that North Salem did, so that he can tailor it for Somers.
Okay.
And then you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, so it will go on for next week's, for public hearing for next week? No,
Schedule
we'll schedule a public hearing for next week.
Okay.
And is there a time
Well,
frame on this?
when I spoke to Roland, I think via Zoom last month, the June 30th. As long as we have it in the system, I think by then we'll be eligible for the grant
Should be in
money.
good-
So
You should be in good shape if you adopt it at your April meeting.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I just want to look at something. But yeah, let's do it in definitely April. I was just going to say something.
Okay.
I might have something.
I think that, yeah,
so we're good.
that's it, yeah.
Okay.
Don, thank you.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks, Don.
All right, brings us to our next topic for discussion is outdoor dining.
Not tonight.
Not tonight, a little cold tonight, a little cold. Anybody want to start this open? I mean, it came
I mean-
before us here.
Yeah, I don't know why we wouldn't do it. These guys all need our help. I know last year we did it, we started it in April. But again, people are still trying to recover. To me, it makes perfect sense to allow outdoor dining.
Yeah, this is something we did, in response to the COVID situation and trying to make things easier for them to run their businesses. But quite frankly, it's working out great for them.
Working out great. I think,
And I think the public enjoys being out, outdoors.
Sure.
And if there's any carryover COVID concerns, they have the option to be outside if they like.
correct.
But
And-
remember, you did it outside of your rules and regulations. You did
Yes.
it outside of the bounds of your zoning code because you didn't have time to go through the process.
Right.
But if you're thinking you're going to make this a permanent feature, you really need to have the planner draw up the appropriate amendments to the zoning code because it can't go on by resolution forever.
So
Okay, but we can extend it now.
we can do a
Because
resolution
COVID
now
is still out there.
and then work on
But
it. Yeah.
there will come a time when there is no immediate pandemic emergency. And you
Yes.
really need to have it, the building inspector needs to have the regulations that he can enforce.
So my suggestion, go ahead, Tom.
And that would be a public hearing we would need on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So my
The public
suggestion
have
would
a
be to
chance.
accept, to do it by resolution for this year, while at the same time
Yeah.
have the,
Yeah.
building department start working on what needs
Not
to be
the
done for
building,
the
the
code.
planner.
The
Oh,
planner.
you said Tom Toom, I thought.
no,
No,
the
the-
planner,
the planner.
the zoning code has to be
Yeah,
amended.
by
And what
Dan
they have
Smith
to
or
look
Don-
at principally are the
Dave
parking
Smith.
regulations.
Right.
Right.
And the, I suppose the county is, at some point, will start looking at septic regulations.
Well,
because you
wasn't
have
the
that
prereq,
issue as well.
wasn't the prerequisite that essentially it was the bathrooms, I mean, the capacity of the, sort of the utility aspects of each, still, it wasn't about having more clients. It was be able to have the same amount,
Right.
but facilitating them outdoors.
That's right.
But as the
But this would add to
pandemic
more-
ends,
this would add to more-
it'll be more,
Yeah, there'll be more inside.
Yeah, it'll be
More
more
inside and more outside.
Yeah.
It'd be more use.
Yeah. I also think that the other towns are approving this as well, so from a competitive point of view, you want to do this at least
I
this
agree.
next time through. North Salem doing this, and
Yep.
maybe North Castle?
both.
Are they doing it in the same fashion,
No,
extending?
North Castle actually amended their code because they want to make it permanent.
Right. And did they have any problems just getting through all the parking issues and all
No.
that stuff? No. I
Yeah,
mean-
in New York City, this is an issue because if you go down there in Brooklyn or Manhattan, sometimes it's almost the entire sidewalk.
Right.
And that is creating, for some people, a public nuisance, and why do I have to do that? Are they paying for extra square footage in New York City compared to my restaurant where I can't do it for whatever reason? So they have a whole bunch of issues that does,
Right.
it does make it more, you can understand the opposite position. But I'm not aware of anything here that has constrained anyone on a sidewalk. Parking would be the only thing. Some are in parking spaces. I suppose we have to look at that. But I don't see where it's the same thing as in New York City, where I think there are two sides to this issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea to just do this and then kind of then go through the process of doing that. Rich, I remember when we were doing this, they were talking about, you can put up these outside, facilities, but you can't be, paving,
Right.
other areas or to extend your footprint without going through the process. So we were
And it can't be on a road
Right.
where they are in New York City,
So-
some streets.
So we're being forgiving with the process in order to facilitate a quick answer for them and get them up and going through COVID. So,
Yeah.
all right, so good, yeah.
So,
I support,
So I just want to make a motion to adopt a resolution for outdoor dining from April 1st, 2022 to November 30th, 2022. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, takes us to item
That's not too
4. Request permission to approve and execute the semi-annual maintenance plan with Gentech Ltd. for servicing the 6 sewer district pump station emergency power generators and transfer switches in the amount of $3,420. $285 per generator, with repairs being billed separately per memo dated February 1st, 2022, from Adam Smith, Superintendent of Water and Sewer. Patty, if we can put that on the consensus agenda for next week. Item 5, authorize the solicitation of requests for proposal for the replacement of weekly and monthly annex and townhouse cleaning services per memo dated February 14th, 2022, from Thomas J. Tuma Jr., Building Inspector.
And so I have a question on that.
Yeah.
I know during COVID, we had people come in to spray the building and do all this. And I'll ask Patty, because I'm not here at night and Patty's here all the time. Is this something that we've done for years, or is this new?
This is new.
New.
This
So-
is new.
Is this
So-
COVID-related cleaning? Is that?
Because my question is,
This-
don't we have a full-time employee whose job is to maintain and
So,
clean the buildings?
to the caliber that it should be cleaned. So,
All right, well, that's a different
we-
question.
So, the once over weekly clean, and monthly clean, I think is very,
I will say historically, and this
go on.
predates me,
Yeah,
they used to have a cleaning company.
they did, okay, I never remember
They
since
would
I've been
come
here.
And like weekly and like do the clean.
Yeah.
But
It
are we-
wasn't the person's,
It wasn't the
the
person's.
maintenance personnel staff job.
And haven't we
The night-
also contracted out for the cleaning of carpets semi-annually or annually, along with windows that get cleaned?
There were windows and stuff that.
I don't even think it's semi-annual, I think that's just, hey, the windows are dirty, let's get them clean.
Well,
We were trying to
This-
do that with all the
That's gotten
buildings at
hard
one
to,
point.
That's gotten hard to windows, carpets, to get people to do those things because of prevailing wages. There is a legislation though, on there's upcoming legislation that they might repeal it.
Appeal the prevailing wage
For, under,
projects under
it's like
certain.
city, we'll fall into it. We won't make the, we'll fall into that, we won't have to pay that.
Okay.
Tom, this is a sort of that weekly deep clean. We have someone who does the nightly stuff, takes out the garbage, cleans it. This is more the weekly, monthly deep cleaning that
I mean, I'd like to see the proposal, what it entails. I'd also like to see the cost of it, obviously, once we get them back.
So that's the RFP.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm okay with going out to RFP, and then I'll decide later.
Well, we
obviously.
also contract out, I think, in the library
Library, police,
and in Van Tassel.
Van Tassel.
And
But
police.
we don't
Now,
have a
those
person
get
there.
lumped together. Yeah, I know what you're saying. But they get lumped together, maybe that company says, hey, we'll expand our services, maybe at the
That
best.
was my question. I meant, is this because we already have a contract, a cleaning contract with a company? Would it be possible just to do a change order?
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have to do this step of trying to find somebody
Yeah.
else?
If you're going to use that same company,
Mhm.
you can change the scope of his services mid-contract.
Right.
That you can do.
Is it the same company for the library and the
Yes.
police station?
Yes.
That was combined, yeah. It didn't
And-
used to
and
be, but it was combined.
What's the RFP rules, though? Do we go out, once we have that contracted, do we RFP it every
You
couple
know
of
what I'm
years?
saying.
Whenever the contract ends,
We do RFP it.
you would.
Yeah,
What-
okay.
What's
A
the
bit.
length, how much time remains in that
Well,
contract?
we actually just extended it in December, I think. For the we did a 2-year extension.
Okay, so at the end of the 2-year period, then you would rebid it.
Okay.
Yeah, we could only do that one.
So,
But I want to know if it's extended for an extra amount to do the extra work. Is that extra amount less than a separate contract with another
Yeah, right.
person?
Right.
We got to save money.
I mean, the first question is to
I mean,
ask
the-
them to do here, what does it cost for them
Right.
to?
Well, in talking with the town clerk, who knows more than all five of us combined, the odds are we're only going to get this person to respond. The odds,
They're the only ones.
they're the only ones that are going to probably respond to the
They're
RFP.
the ones that will ever respond.
Yeah, all right.
Well, tell them there's a lot of bidders first.
They're
It's a
very-
highly sought-after job.
They're
and-
very nice and fair.
Again, I have no problem looking for the extension and see what the amount is. I have a different issue that we can talk about at another time, but
Understood.
Is
I'm
this
okay.
prevailing wage? No. Is this a
Are you
fall,
close
Yeah.
under prevailing wage?
Everything's prevailing wage.
unless
Does
it's
this
one
contract fall
person?
under that?
Oh, sure.
We'll just table it, put it on next week.
Yeah, we'll just move this to next week.
All right,
Okay.
we'll see what they
Beat that one
propose.
to death.
We have to have Denise read it.
Yep, that's cool. Right. Item 6, authorize the 2022 license application renewal to collect refuse within the town of Somers for city carting, Oak Ridge hauling, and AAA carting and rubbish per memo dated January 31st, 2022, from Patricia Calva, Town Clerk.
As hard as it is to believe, I have a comment on this one also. Our code still says no collection before 7 a.m.
Correct.
Okay. I'm fine with putting this to the consensus agenda, but as I was driving to my office at 6:45, I saw one of the waste management haulers well on their path. So I will get some information
Circle
and,
which one.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, two things. One, that's a compliance issue. And secondly, if you don't feel that if they're abusing it, you don't give them the,
This was one time, we haven't had any complaints, but I just think,
Changed it at some point.
yeah, it's 7 o'clock.
we've
There were
had,
complaints.
But my point is just maybe another phone call, just to say, hey,
I'll take care of it.
okay, thank you.
Now, Patty, one other thing, and I ask this question each year because it comes up each year. City Carting, or I guess all of them, has said because of the recycling in the world, the market is down for recycled plastics, et cetera. There's an extra recycling fee
Yeah.
on the bill
would be me.
from them. And that originally was a temporary because of the change in the market for the things that they took in to recycle. Is there ever any discussion by them like, you know, we got to extend this another year because of, or is that in their minds, a permanent fixture? Is this something we ever ask them for?
So just, this is deja vu all over again, so I'm gonna predict no.
No.
No, they don't discuss it, or no, we don't ask it?
They don't discuss it. They fill out, they fill out their plan. You guys all got the packets.
Right.
You wanna give them a call and say, hey, but good luck.
Well, I mean, it's just like, that was a temporary thing they've added and still on the bill. And I doubt the market has changed, but I'm just saying, it was not designed for forever an extra charge, so.
What was that, the extra charge was for,
Recycling.
recycling?
Yeah, because the change in the market, and China wasn't taking in recycled plastics
Right.
at that time because they had enough. So I get that. I just
That's
want
a
It
good
to,
hasn't
question.
changed.
market hasn't changed. I just want them to know that we know that it's still on the bill.
You know, that they know, that we know.
I can include it when I send their permit to them.
So
If
it's-
you'd like to know that extra recycling fees, when that's going to expire.
Yes. When do you forecast it to be dropped off of your bill? Yes. And they'll say, can't know, but we keep you in mind.
Right.
Yes.
I will
Gotcha.
add that when I.
That's a
get
good
that
idea.
Also, what, left over from last year.
Okay. Move that to consensus
Yeah.
agenda for next week.
one. Yes.
Number 7, refer request to purchase one parcel from the town of Somers, 6 Valley Drive East, lot 1605-2-12, located next to 7N Parkway Drive, Shenrock, to the assessor, Highway Department, Open Space Committee, Parks and Recreation, and the Planning and Engineering Department for evaluation.
No.
Consensus agenda for next week?
Right.
Authorize the supervisor to execute the renewal contract for the town's 2022 tax map maintenance with the CAI Technologies per email from Teresa Stegner, assessor, dated February 25th, 2022. We move that to the consensus agenda again for next week as well.
Right.
And authorize supervisor to accept Somers Town tax warrants for 2022. And let's move that to the consensus agenda for next week as well.
April's coming quickly.
Nothing with, for Parks and Recreation. Financials, authorized 2021 budget transfers and modifications per email from Robert Kehoe, Director of Finance. And we move that to the consensus agenda for next week as well. Nothing for highway personnel. We still have a number of vacancies we're looking to fill here for the town. One is the Affordable Housing Board. It's a 1-2-year term ending 7/11/2022. The Architectural Review Board, 1 3-year term ending 3/31/2023. Library Board of Trustees, 1 5-year term ending 20/31/2024. We have 2 for Partners in Prevention. The first one is a 2 3-year term, 2 3-year terms ending 12/31/2022. And then another one is a 2 3-year term ending 12/31/2023. We also have an upcoming vacancy for the Parks and Rec Board. It's a 2 3-year term ending on 3/9/2022. That's from the next Wednesday. Number 3, acknowledge the appointment of Nola Blair to the Somers Library Board of Trustees to fill an unexpired 5-year term ending December 31st, 2024. And then we also like to acknowledge the resignation of Michelle Werney as a member of the Somers Parks and Recreation Board effective February 25th of 2022.
She was very effective. She's a very effective member who will be missed.
And we want to thank...
Always very active.
Yeah, we want to thank her. I go to a lot of the meetings and appreciate her service as we do all of the volunteers in town.
You mean Michelle?
Michelle.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle, for all the work you've done.
Yes, thank you very much. Nothing here for planning and engineering. Nothing for the police.
Oh, it says it.
The proposed consensus agenda, items 1 through 5, including A and B. Does anybody have anything about that? Tom, anything for that as well? The proposed consensus agenda?
Nope.
Okay. The calendar for 2022, right? Next meeting is March 10th at 7 p.m. Town Board regular meeting. And then again in April 7th and April 21st, and then in May 5th and May 12th.
So just make a quick note, April, it's not the normal first and second Thursday, it's the first and third Thursday.
First and third, correct.
We also have 2 public hearings on March 10th. One is the veterans exemption, and the other one is, the amendment to the shopping center addresses.
Oh, yeah, from the fire department?
In the fire department last week.
So we should probably put that on this agenda somewhere.
Is that the one you did?
Yeah. So we have those 2 public
Okay.
hearings as well,
Those
just to
2.
point it out.
Thank you.
I missed it.
We had somebody join on Zoom, I'm sorry, that's what that noise is.
No, it's all right.
Okay. Is there any, go ahead. What's
I
that?
was just wondering if they have a question.
Well, it's not public comment, and it's
Yeah.
not, let's finish.
We're done with it.
We're done with public comment.
Sorry about that. They just joined, so ask over the microphone if they can state their name and their address. and
Don't
their
forget, let us finish.
Sorry, or
We did close.
We closed public
We,
comment.
we closed the public comment.
all right, sorry.
No worries. Thank you. We do have some upcoming events here I'd like to point out. The Boy Scouts of America Troop 376 fundraiser. Support the Boy Scout Troop 376 by donating your new or gently used sneakers to Got Sneakers, any organization which will repurpose, recycle the materials. The last day is, I believe, March 7th, 2022. This last day will be accepted. There's donation boxes are located here in the Elephant Hotel lobbies of all Somers Central School Districts, Reese Park, and 191 Route 202. For more information, you can email Somers Troop P 376@gmail.com. Anybody have anything else? Go ahead.
Go, Tony.
Well, I just, as we go through this next month or so, our constituents are going to be getting emails or mail from the Community Aggregation Program that Sustainable Westchester has done in the past for the last 5 years, and we've signed up for it. Essentially, you have the ability to opt out. What this is telling you is that you're going to have a new service supplier for electricity, and that's going to start as of March 13th or so. It's going to level the rate out at about 8.7 cents a minute. And
Kilowatt hour.
Per kilowatt hour. I always do that. That's my telecommunications.
Wow, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's gonna add up.
Yes, right, it's gonna add up. So 8.7 cents per kilowatt hour. So that's happening, and you should just be aware of that. This is gonna level out your rate. Over the past month or so, we've been getting a lot of complaints because of utility rates. And, those are issues with supply and energy policy as it relates to the federal government and the state. And, we're doing our best to try to feel some of that in your office, right? In terms of helping people work through it, understand their bills, and, talk about what their options are, which is a whole other discussion. But just be aware that, this is coming into force as of March 13th, and the rates will be level at 8.7 cents, so you won't have those wild fluctuations going forward.
And I just wanted to add that, obviously with the mask mandate being lifted in our schools, no longer required, I saw somebody talk about it on social media. Just let's remember to be kind to each other. Some people still want to wear masks. They feel safer, or they feel they're protecting others. Everybody should have their own choice and not be asked questions about it. So please, just as we try to be kind to each other and not critical.
Yeah, be tolerant. Yeah.
Gentlemen, anything?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
No, well, I'd like to make a motion.
Let's go Major League Baseball. Come on. Jeez. Putin, get out of Ukraine, Major League Baseball. Let's get started.
Second
Yeah.
motion.
So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.